A7S III is the hottest camera right now. Of course, obviously, not same reason as Canon is. And also, during this live stream, I will talk about not just about Sony and Canon, but other related topics as well. So if you're new to the channel or have been watching this channel for a long time, please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you guys can join me. As you may know, I recently did a live stream this week because now I discover that in YouTube, since I reached 1,000 subscribers, I can finally stream now. So now I'm trying to be more organized and try to at least bring out and do more concise topics on my live stream. So today I decided to do this one in particular because a lot of people I know are Sony shooters. A lot of people own Sony cameras. And so I kind of want to talk about it, what my thoughts about it and whatnot. For the most part, I am not a Sony fanboy nor a Canon fanboy. I don't really have like this allegiance to one other brand because that's just who I am. And to be fair, I've only been shooting digital for a while. For the most part, I've been shooting actually film more than I've been shooting digital years back. And of course, obviously, the first camera and the only camera digital that I bought fairly new, which is not new anymore, is my Sony A500, 5100, which is like decades old at this point. So what are my thoughts about the new A7 III? For me personally, it's not a camera I would use per se because I don't do video. But I think it's a great contender to what's out there in the video camera market. And I think for what it offers, I think a lot of people who shoot mainly just video, I think it will work just fine. Of course, a lot of people out there are doing this whole like Canon and Sony and this and that. And to be honest with you, I think both cameras, the R5/R6 and what the Sony offers, they offer different things, but also offer similar. Obviously, the new Sony is not perfect for stills, though. If you ever thought like people still shoot 12 megapixels, but you gotta bear in mind, like what 10 years ago, people were shooting 10 megapixel cameras, doing studio work with 12 megapixels. If I remember exactly, Canon came out with a camera not far long ago that was shooting 12 megapixels and whatnot. So I don't really understand that particular argument and whatnot, but I can kind of see in today's world and how 12 megapixels is like this, like you don't do that anymore kind of thing. And so pretty much in this video, I want to talk about the differences and the similarities between the two cameras for the most part, because I think they both offer one thing. To be honest with you, if the type of person I am and the type of person that does mostly photography, and I do some videos, I do a lot of videos, but not like high quality like Netflix stuff. Though, if I really like sat down and like really planned out my stuff, then I could do stuff like that. But I'm just too busy focusing on other things. But I do like the idea of making a short film one day. I do have all these bunch of creative ideas that perhaps the Sony would be really suffice to what I want. Though I would say I would lean towards Canon because of that. But to be very honest, I'm not really interested in both. I'm actually leaning towards Fuji, but I'm not a Fuji fanboy either. I think for me as a photographer and a person who does video as well, I like to pick which camera will do everything for me. I'm not I don't do like portrait photography. I don't do professional photography yet. You know, I don't do anything that's strenuous. I just go out and shoot, and pretty much it's just a hobby thing. It's not nothing where I gain any money from yet. Perhaps if I really put myself into. And I feel like both of these cameras that has been offered, the R5 and the Sony S3, 7S3, I think those are gearing towards more for people who do more professional work. Those people who actually are doing like video for like Netflix and whatnot. I mean, maybe for YouTube too. If I feel like if people are doing mainly just vlogging, maybe they should, you know, gear towards lesser, uh, I guess more of a camera that's suitable for that type of work. But then again, you know, there's people out there that will shell thousands of dollars for camera and just put it up and like, hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm just walking down the street, rather than like an in-depth, you know, like real like movie that people can watch. So let's look and see. So pretty much, let's compare both of the cameras. All right. So of course, obviously, pixel size. The Sony has a 12.9 megapixel, and the Canon has a 47.1 megapixel. Of course, you're only going to be using 45, and of course, with the Sony, you probably only use 12.1. They're both actually a full frame, so that's the interesting thing. They both have a CMOS sensor, and they both, of course, obviously, are going to be 14-bit. Both shoot RAW, JPEG, shoot RAW. You know, I shoot RAW. So there you have it. So obviously, the Canon is going to have a bigger sensor. So you probably do a lot more with that versus the 12. But the biggest issue that a lot of people have been complaining about is the overheating factor with the Canon. And it's been a lot of memes with that. People like frying eggs on top of the Canon. But, you know, I feel like Canon just like threw the whole, like, put this camera together, let's see what people want, and just throw it out there with the 8K. And I've heard like now, well, actually they both use the new media format. I don't know, the new car that just came out, if I remember exactly. And that's expensive. The cars that they use for this camera. So I'm trying to see I think it's like the Express CFS or CF. I can't really remember exactly. But you know, I don't think many people will use that 8K. A person like myself wouldn't be shooting that. I would say 4K is like probably good enough for me. And even then, I don't even use 4K. I use just regular on there. I should advance to that as well. And so that's pretty much my thought on that. Another comparison is that, of course, obviously, the Canon is going to be video centered more towards video and stills. So if you're like me, who does both, who does video and stills, the Canon will be, but the Sony 7S3 compared to the Canon will be better in the light. And obviously it's a small sensor, and of course, you know, with the CMOS sensor, and I think the sensor is a little bit different on the Sony than it is on the Canon. I think the Sony has a newer, probably upgraded version of the sensor. The Sony 7S camera can push your ISO up to 40 to 204,000 ISO. That's like, I have never thought in my life I would shoot that far in ISO. I stick to like maybe 1600. maybe 32, depending on the situation. And even then, of course, because I'm using an older Sony, that camera would be like obviously grainy as crap. But that's just my opinion on that. Another comparison is that the Sony A7S III force limitation, that's continuous shooting speed and 45 megapixel EOS R5. Despite having a new 12 megapixel sensor with 3 times the readout speed and brand new image processor, the shooting range or the shooting speed, of course, of this camera is even lower than the Canon Eos R5 with its massive 45 megapixel resolution. So apparently, from what I got the gist of it, they're trying to protect the flagship A9 series with limiting the speed. So there you go. So yes, from 80 to 102,000 ISO. That's crazy, man. Like, just imagine, like, shoot pitch black, right? And you can still get an image. That's insane. I would never thought in a million years I would see a camera that would shoot. I mean, I'm fine with just 6200, 1662, 1600, 3200 maybe. But wow, you know. But then again, this camera is not really for me per se, only because it's strictly just video. And for the Canon, yeah, Canon is more towards me, but I'm not even interested in Canon either. I'm like the Canon, the camera conspiracy man. I'm like in the Fuji like cult. I'm almost in the cult, almost there. I'm steering away from the Canon triple hammer. But I also use a Sony, so I'm kind of like in limbo between two worlds. Obviously, I'm more familiar with Sony because I've shot mostly with Sony. But I have used Canon plenty of times, but mostly on the film side. So digital, not as much. Maybe like the Rebel. That's probably the only like Canon I have familiar with. And that's it was pretty decent camera that I used back in the day. So yes, and actually, with the 7S III and R5, you know, obviously the Canon will have 8K resolution, and it can record eternally at 422 bit. But after 20 minutes, of course, the 8K will start causing overheating issues. But of course, I think I forgot who did a testing on this, but it was less than that. It was like 14, 15 minutes overheating. That's probably the biggest drawback with the Canon versus the Sony, and especially with somebody who does professional video work. You obviously don't want the camera to like stop working after like 15 minutes, especially if you're doing professional work. Especially like if you're on a tight schedule and you need to film something and like you need to get it done that day, and your camera just overheats and you can't use it for the rest of the day, or like you just have to turn it off and turn it on, and things just don't work right. And especially not me, because I'm just doing YouTube videos, so I can just take my time, waste it trying to turn on and turn off the camera because it's overheating and might cause issues. Versus Sony, where it doesn't overheat at all, so they can just sit there and shoot all day and get their work done, while the person with the Canon might be like, dang, I need to change another camera. And maybe that day, hopefully not, I'm presuming that they brought multiple cameras. That'd be an amateur move, just to bring one camera. You know, unlike myself, you know, I'm just bringing one camera because that's the only thing I have. You know, it would be very detrimental. So that's probably like the biggest gripe out of it. So on the other hand, it's limited to 4K. Okay, people are gonna say, well, Sony will shoot 8K, but to be very honest, like 4K is good. It's stick to what's proven, what's tested, and you know, stick with it, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It says up to 60 on their YouTube channels. Not me, because I'm not a big YouTuber. I can't get fancy gear. I just have to just collect old gear and review that. And as usual, no 6K or 8K recording. So due to lower resolution sensor. So I'm pretty sure Sony would do 8K one day, but obviously maybe they're looking at Canon like, okay, you did 8K, there's some faults there. Let's see if we can tweak it on our side and make it better. But that probably won't happen for a while. You know, Canon, though, I would say that they did step their foot forward and say, yeah, we got 8K, but you know, there's still a lot of things that need to work on and tweak as well. And Canon's kind of been like hit in a mess. You know, I think this time they kind of like, okay, we're on the ball, but we're not quite there yet. Like one step forward, two steps back. But it's nothing wrong. I mean, at least they're trying and they're like, okay, we want to compete with Sony. And Sony, on their side, they actually improved a lot of things as well, like the menus, and of course, the autofocusing is like top notch, and you know, many other things. I would say maybe their lenses too. Over the years, Sony lenses have gotten better and improved, and they're getting a lineup better. You know, because I don't have many Sony lenses, and then of course I shoot mostly film anyway, so most of the lenses I am using are the vintage. You know, Minolta, Canon, things like that. And another thing is the Sony A7S III is more usable than Canon Eos R5 in real world conditions. If you're shooting multi-interview and creating short movies, it would be more feasible to use Sony A7S III than Canon Eos R5. At the same time, you know, it doesn't have any recoil limits. Obviously, I'm not going to go even deeper because that's, I think Joe Undone did that in his own video where he just went in depth. But I would say this, man, just looking at both of the cameras, like, it's so crazy how mirrorless technology has come away so long. I remember, you know, 10 years ago, I was shooting, you know, with just a Kodak digital camera. And, you know, I thought that was the bee's knees. I thought that was like, well, that's awesome. That was Kodak. So, in hindsight, it's not really a good camera. And now, man, like you got cameras that shoot 8K, 4K. You know, you got cameras that, you know, you can easily just buy out the box and you can just make a movie that can compete with like Martin Scorsese. So it's like, I think for me, the 7AS A7S III. I don't know, man. Sony need to. That's one thing I should gripe about, man. Sony should just work on it, like their name. All these A's and B's and God, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just a little bit like I get sometimes like even like my friend owns the A7R series, and sometimes I always like make fun of it like 7.8, 3000 or something. I don't know. I need to like work on it. It's like Mercedes. Like Mercedes and BMW, they also have like that weird like numbers and letter system. It's just like sometimes it just don't make sense. You know, G-Wagon, something like that. So yes, in my personal belief, I think Sony is killing the game. Canon, you know, I think Canon, that with this release, they really are, okay, we got something to offer. And I think, you know, both of these cameras, I think, offer something more for people out there. Of course, obviously, the Sony will be more for videographers and people who just do videos. Not me, because, you know, I don't, you know, maybe perhaps one day if I listen to that kind of thing. But on the other hand, you know, the Canon I think it's much more a well-rounded camera. Just the whole like the overheating in 8K, I think that's something that most people will probably stay away from. I don't think I think if you don't use that as often, I think it's still a decent camera. But that's just my thing. But you know, I feel like Sony, Canon, Fujifilm, Panasonic, Nikon, they're bringing a lot of things to the table. So I would say my top three are Sony, Fuji, and Panasonic. Those are like the top three for me. I know some people are gonna be like, you don't like Canon, you know. But like again, like I'm not, to be honest, like if whatever camera suits my needs, whatever camera suits what I use, it's gonna be my choice. You know, if Canon came out with something, I was like, oh, I like that, I like that. But obviously, you know, I haven't. Yeah. And I think maybe the reason why I choose Fuji more than any of those two is because of the film-like aspect of it. The cameras seem more what my style is as a photographer. I like Sony because I use Sony, and I have Canon because I also have some Canon camera, mostly film. It would be kind of cool though, man. Canon just like made a rangefinder or something like that. I don't know. Canon made some pretty dope rangefinders back in the day, like in the 1960s, right? And Nikon also too made some rangefinders. You know, we have like the Fuji X Pro 3. It'd be cool if like Canon and Nikon came out with like that kind of style. And that's something that one thing too, like I never noticed. Like that's probably the one thing with like Fuji I like a little bit more is that their ability to like offer these interesting takes on camera. With Sony, you kind of get almost the same with their lineup, which is understandable. Some people just want to be familiar with it, right? But I always feel like Canon too. They also feel like I always think that all their designs look kind of the same. There isn't like a difference in between the unique style. You know, Sony and Canon kind of fall in that bland look. That's probably maybe another complaint with Sony as well. Um, but then again, I feel like as though once again, like I said earlier, some things you just if they work, they work. Some things that are proven to work 100%. You know, ooh, got some beer here. You proven why change it. But so yeah, that's just my take on it. But I think Sony hit the park out of this. Once again, Sony's like we're leading the way, we're leading the pack here, and it's a wonderful time. You know, a lot of people, always, oh, Sony they don't really make. They're not a camera company. They do all kinds of things. But Sony, man, like Sony's a company that they have that ability to change the industry or to at least turn its head to what it's doing. And that's probably something unique about Sony compared to like an actual established camera company like Canon and like Fuji and maybe not Panasonic because Panasonic's kind of similar to Sony in a way. Panasonic makes not just cameras too; they make TVs, they make electronics, they make all kinds of other stuff. So like you kind of can compare Panasonic and Sony are kind of in the same in terms of what the company offers, right? They're not just a camera company. Panasonic makes TVs and they make all kinds of stuff. It's that's something that most people don't know. Like a lot of Japanese companies don't just do one thing. And actually something that I read a long time ago, wasn't not a long time ago, but it was a long time ago, how like Japanese companies versus American companies and how like they like acquire these actors, they take on these companies. Like in America, like it's a huge issue if Chevy and like Chevy buys out or buys out Ford or something like that and like work together. And that's a big deal. But like in Japan, that's normal. Like Subaru owns a percentage of Toyota owns a percentage of Subaru, or Olympus. They not just do cameras; they also do medical technology. They own a couple of medical companies as well. And normally half the time it's not necessarily just to not necessarily to buy them out and like take over them like American companies would do. It's more of a partnership to maybe help out them financially there's a lot of companies that almost went bankrupt. That certain companies in Japan like, okay, we can help you out, and once you once you are financially making money, we will share our shares back. We will sell our shares back to you, and then you can go on. There's a lot of companies that do that. Um, of course, I know like back in America, there's like this huge thing with like tech companies, and how tech companies are like these like monopoly. But to be very honest, like Facebook and Amazon and Twitter and all these things, um, you know, these companies like came out of necessity. Like who uses like how many people use Amazon? A lot of people use Amazon. A lot of people use Facebook. Like is there another Facebook? Is there another Amazon? Is there another company like that we use every day? And that's something that's quite interesting. But yes. So that's pretty much what I think in that regards. But like I said, Sony is definitely the hottest camera right now. Not like not literally the hottest camera, unless you like throw it in a fire somewhere and bring it back up. you know. But it is definitely hottest camera. If I was a videographer and I do videos only and like make music videos for like, 2 Chainz, you know, Little Baby, whatever. Yes, I would use it. But if I'm using it for stills and video as well, personally, I wouldn't even Canon, yes, but not just Canon too. There's other options like Panasonic and also Sony also has their other lineup like the 6600, even the A7S, where you definitely could do both. Best of both worlds. And actually, maybe they'll end up updating that as well, probably next year. Sony's always updating themselves. But yes, and that's one thing I don't quite understand too. Like, I understand that people have their loyalty to certain brands, but at the end of the day, like whatever camera feels and needs, that is something that I think um, will suffice you 100%. Um, but yeah, and let's see. Let's look at. Am I missing anything? Autofocusing, like I said, autofocusing better. Viewfinder uh, has much better ratio than R5. Uh, so yeah, for still shooters, Eos R5 is the best option on video. Best option. So yeah, but it all depends on what they're gonna do with the R lineup. If they can transfer all that new tech into the R lineup, and if they do that, then that would definitely be the best of both worlds. And that's coming soon. Actually, it's already the best of both worlds. But I think Sony's doing this thing where we can be even better tomorrow, and that's pretty nice to see. And Fuji is the same way too. Fujifilm, they're like each camera they come out, they are definitely improving themselves a lot more. Of course, RIP Olympus, they bit in the dust as well. So that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna end that segment of this topic. I talked about my thoughts on it and whatnot. And so I'm moving on to this other part where I talk about what's happening lately. I was working on a video. I was going to showcase, obviously, actually it's interesting, a Canon camera, which is weird, right? Let's talk about Sony and Canon. Oh, you got a Canon. But yes, this camera here that I have as well. I bought this maybe like 2 years ago almost. I shot plenty of film with it. This is the Canon SureShot Ace. And the video that I'm going to do this week, coming soon, is that this camera is very unique. And I guess I can give you like a sneak peek. But the camera actually has a top level viewfinder. It almost like a waist level finder, right? It's like one of those like the twin reflex cameras where you can like lift the top, and you can focus it down here, and that's probably so unique with that. And I would say Canon has a lot of cool, unique um, film cameras. I think personally, Ricoh is very underrated when it comes to film cameras, especially during this era in the 90s. That Konica. But I bought this nifty little Canon, and I've been shooting around with it for a couple months. And one thing I noticed is that it doesn't overheat. But obviously, and that's something that's cool. You know, that's something that that's something I wish Canon and like Sony could do, is like do cameras like these again, where it looks like this, but it's got all the electronic parts and whatnot. I mean, Ricoh's doing it. It'd be kind of cool. It's a nice little niche market, and that's something I think maybe I never thought about as a photographer. Is that there's a lot of cool cameras like these film cameras that if they could be, revamped today, it'd be a lot of people would be interested in them. It doesn't necessarily have to do with just video, and that's everyone's all crazy about video and wants to shoot 4K, and everyone's because I guess everybody wants to do YouTube and Twitch and all that, but back then it wasn't a big deal. Back then it was just all shooting photo. And like if Canon and Sony and Nikon like, hey, we can make cameras like these again, with an actual updated sensor and like if our technology that we've been improving for the last decade and make a camera like this. Just imagine, it looks like a camera for today, basically. And the EVF and everything is like just everything, right? They can make a good film, but not necessarily like one of those cheap point and shoot cameras, but an actual real camera. But I'm out of my price range, and my wife will beat me. That is true, definitely. That price is ridiculous. Like the price is, oh my gosh. But like I said before in this video, it's like if you do strictly just video, it's a good camera to have if you can afford the price. But if you're doing both like I do, like video and photography, Canon will be more of your choice. Or if you like Sony, which, I lean towards a little bit more, I would say this A7R3 is a perfect. And by then, that price would drop because they'll probably release a new one. Or you can get any of the A7, the lineup, not just the 3, you get the 2 or the first one. Mind you, the quality is not as great. Autofocus is probably not the best, but it's fairly cheap, and you get full frame. It's a cheap full frame camera if you care about depth of field and all that stuff. And so yes, but I'm leaning towards more Fuji because that's something. If you look at who I am and like what I do, Fuji actually fits perfectly. Of course, obviously, I'm not like, I'm not succumbed to the Fuji cult, as the camera conspiracy guy says. Though, I mean, he's probably never going to watch this video. But if he did, I like his channel. And and Matt's channel, I really like. Matt's channel, I like. I also like Gerald Undone. His stuff is pretty dope. His take on the Sony was really good. None of that just B-roll and all that. Straight to the text, straight to the facts. That's something that a lot of YouTubers tend not to do, including myself. But I feel like yes. But I was saying also as well, like the thing that I wish a lot of camera companies do as well is that maybe not just do video only, like maybe make cameras like kind of like what I'm doing in this review, like cameras like this, where it's just shooting. Maybe it has limited video features, but actually make like a straight up just like an old school rangefinder or like a cool little like. I wish Casey Neistat would start making videos. Oh my god, I could fulfill his. I take over his channel. Johnny, take over Casey Neistat channel. Well, he has how many subscribers? Like what? I don't know how many millions. More than me, obviously, but yeah. And it's been a while since I've seen any of his videos. I saw Peter McKinnon's video a couple of days ago, He did something on like how to improve your photography. That was interesting. But I did see Manny's video on the Canon and the Sony and then the Fuji one, of course. Oh, my foot just fell asleep. Um, so it's just, I think for me, man, it's like these days is like all these challenges, all this tech, right? You even think about it, right? All this technology is overwhelming. Like I feel like you could be overwhelmed with everything. And I always feel like a lot of these cameras are just stressed only video. I mean, I understand a lot of people want to make YouTube videos, like including myself, but I don't know. Like for me personally, I just want a camera that just makes you feel like you're not like some gearhead. You just want to have fun shooting. And I just all I care about. Peter always managed to keep me interested, even if I'm not interested when he's talking about. And he can talk about like chipmunks. And you're like, wow, Peter McKinnon. What's up, guys? Today we're gonna do a video on chipmunks. And you're like, wow, man, Peter McKinnon. Wow. And he's like this B-roll. He's like the master of the B-roll. Just walking through the woods, talking to chipmunks, and you're like, man, this video is quite lame, but I like the B-roll. I like his attitude, personality. You know what I mean? But that's pretty much how it is, right? You know, at the end of the day, you know, imagine if Peter McKinnon was not like a great videographer. Like he was just his personality. Would his videos, would his channel be like what it is? It's very interesting, right? I think if you take the personality, like if you just only control, if your personality like the thing that like shines in your videos, I think nothing else matters. I mean, unless you're, you know, if you add on like great videographer, if you edit great, man, that is a plus. You know, like if I could edit like Peter McKinnon, if I had like, you know, that would be nice, right? But at the end of the day, I think for me, it's just your personality and how you interact with your audience. Like if you throw your hands in the air and like throw Canon in the camera and like your Sony camera and like do these crazy like, what's up guys? And then your camera falls behind you. And you're like, dang, my camera broke. But that's okay because Sony sponsored this video and got me a new. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. But so yes. But that's pretty much it, man. Like we're in an age right now where like technology is so advanced, like not like alien advanced, but advanced that where we have a lot of cool things to like to do and use it with. I feel like maybe some people have too much to handle to actually appreciate it. I feel like we're in an age where anyone can have access to this new technology, and like for me, it's all about storytelling, which I'm not the best at, I think. I hope I am, but and I think it's all about creativity and how much heart and much ambition you put into something. You can get like a fourth. You can have somebody can have like I don't know one of those red cameras, right? Like $25,000 camera, and could be terrible at like directing movies, which that actually happens a lot. There are movies in Hollywood that suck, but these guys got like the ultimate gears and stuff. And then you have somebody who shoots with like a Canon sheer shot or power shot camera from like 2002, can make like the awesome like storytelling and great charisma, and like it doesn't matter what gear you have, only in certain situations though. Obviously, if you're in a professional environment where you do need to use professional gear, that's. But if you're just an average YouTuber like myself, who has less than 1,000 subscribers, or I mean I have 1,000 subscribers, but have less than that, it doesn't matter. But like I usually tell people, just like myself, work your way up, right? I mean, as much as we, want to, shame Jeff Bezos, he started working at a warehouse, right? Look at him, he owns half the planet. Of course, obviously, things have changed for him in many ways. um, Sometimes you got to start small. And so I think like comparing these two cameras shows the Canon and the Sony. it shows how far we've came in grammar, and camera technology, and how accessible and easy it is for anyone to get a hold of these cameras. Now we can make movies just as good as Martin Scorsese, or Steven Spielberg, or Roman Polanski. But but anyway, we have this technology. I just think that it's oversaturated with just people going straight tech without just having fun with it and see what we could create with it. And especially me as an artist, like, it's funny, like, I kind of imply this as an artist mentality, because I draw with just pencils and crayons, right? That's like the simplest, form of material known to man. Like, it's been out thousands of years, and yet you can create beautiful works of art. I mean, the same as like using a 12-year-old camera. Like, my Sony is old, and I mean, I don't, I'm working better on my videos, but I shot amazing photos with it. I've done a lot of cool things with it, and only imagine what I can do with something more advanced with that same mentality. Gear doesn't change you. You change what you have in your gear, and that's pretty much my philosophy on that. So yeah, Canon, can you make a camera like this? And especially here, I actually have my refill camera, which I've done. Imagine like making a camera, like if they made a camera like this, with a sensor here and all that, like Canon, it'd be hotcakes, right? There's a lot of they're filling a niche that actually is becoming more and more popular every day. Film cameras are becoming. It's like funny, when I started doing film photography, back to film photography again 3 years ago. Like, it was like starting to become like a trendy thing, but I didn't do it because it was trendy. I did it because I enjoy shooting film. I shot film many times in the past, and I don't know, just the slow down, taking your time, learning about composition, learning about lighting, learning about different film ISO, and different film emotions and like techniques. And it's so cool. Like, film photography is its own little world, and digital has its own thing too. And I feel like people always get like this line drawn in between, where like, oh, I do film, no, I don't do digital. I don't do digital. I think both worlds can coincide with one another, and I do it all the time. There's a lot of things I learned about digital that I apply with film, and what I learned in film, then I applied it with digital. Especially like the look. That's why Fujifilm, I like Fujifilm more. Like, you get that look, right? And it's not a gimmick. People generally do miss Velvia. People miss shooting across. People have like this nostalgia and attachment to the look, and they also have a remembrance what it's like to shoot a film. And for them to get back into it is obviously a good thing. Some people might not appreciate it, but there's others that do. And that's something that I, 100% believe in. It's like, if you have a heart and you have some sort of passion for it, I think you will enjoy what you're doing. Even if it's something professional. Hopefully, even if you're in a professional world and like it's bogging you down, you have to. Sometimes it takes you to remember like what got you this far. Sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I can get there. But for me, it's like working hard and put yourself out there, and um, trying your best. Like right now, I'm trying to like publish my first book. Not just photography, but also got some art that I want to, and then there's an art show here in China, and I'm trying to like, get back to YouTube and collab with people and study and learn more about photography, and try to get myself, much more better than I am as an artist all around. And that's something that we all should learn too as well, is that it doesn't matter what you do. It's always about, we never stop learning. We always continue to grow as a person. So but that's it on my philosophy chat for today. I wanted to do this live stream because this Sony camera has been like the highest thing. I just want to talk about it and my feelings and thoughts. And I didn't get too into specs because I think other YouTubers have gotten into that. I don't have a camera, so I can't really like do the. Look at this lens. Look at this sensor. It's so beautiful. But I will say this: like people say, "Oh, 12 megapixels, it's okay." I mean, people don't. People were doing actual studio work in 12 megapixels not too long ago. So I don't think it's that bad. Could be worse. Could be 4 megapixels. Yeah. Could be half of that. You know what I mean? So, I think people should be more excited about technologies coming out. So hopefully one day in the distant future, I can review some newer cameras, not just old, dusty, found in the basement, somebody's house camera. Like I got this old, large format Kodak camera that's been here from the 1800s. Though that is cool. Though I read somewhere on was it 35 MC? This is like film camera like website. I read a lot of their articles. There was a guy that he used only one camera, and his one camera is this large format. He's been shooting for decades with it. He's like, "This is the only camera I have. I don't have no other camera, and it's all I use." And he has a Nikon, obviously, so he has 2 cameras. But this large format is like his only camera that he uses. And that's something that maybe I should try. It's just use one camera only. Obviously, I have not the digital, but film. So that's, it's not that hard to do. But I think picking one camera and choosing that one camera to shoot for like a year and see what you get from it. And I think I think you grow an appreciation to what is with photography. But anyway, so yes, of course, you could do one of these, pick one of these and shoot. But yeah, can't Kodak. That's something I never thought about too. It's like Fuji has its own like film simulation. Why not like no one like has? Why any of these camera companies like just buy like or simulate Kodak? Like imagine shooting portrait out of a Sony or a Canon. I wouldn't say Canon because they have their own color science, but like Sony shooting, portrait or Ector. If Sony like bought out Kodak or something and like did the film simulations on their camera, that'd be kind of sweet. But then it'd be kind of cool, right? You got Fuji and Kodak, Fuji and Sony battling one another. So that's something that's quite interesting. So, yeah. So who is this one person that's watching? I have one person. I have some people come in and out of the chat. If it's 2 people now. If you enter the video, please say hello and say what's your name, where are you from, give me a shout out. I'm from Tupelo. Right now it's about 9:50 a.m. back in the States. I hope everybody back in the States is safe and sound and healthy and aware of what's going on. And everyone else who's watching this video, I hope everybody is doing okay. Especially this day and age, we are uncertain what the world's going to be like the next day. But as long as we have each other and we're trying to keep ourselves sane, I think everything will be okay. No. So yeah. So I'm going to start slowly drawing this live stream into a close because A, I want to finish my beer, and B, I have of other stuff to work on tonight. So I want to recap and say that, as I said earlier on this video, Sony and Canon, choose which camera you think fits for you. But also, it's a great time for digital photography, mirrorless society. DSLR is dead. No, not really. Actually, DSLR, it's a good time now to get into DSLR. That's a good thing, right? Now you can get into it, get into the system, and then have fun, right? I mean, just like film photography, it's never. And that's the great thing about photography, is that there's so many things you could get into that you'll never get tired of it. You know, just don't worry so much about gear, but just focus on what you love and what you like and what makes you happy, and everything else will continue to go from there. And so that's pretty much it, what I have to say. So if you enjoyed this live stream that I did tonight, click like, share, and subscribe. And if you got a hot camera with you, please let me know what is the hottest camera you got right now. And actually, too, if there's any topics you want me to talk about within art, photography, whatever, let me know. Or if you're interested in actually doing a live stream chat with me, because now I can do that. So if anybody's like, hey, I want to join in, let's do an interview with each other, let me know. Obviously, you know, there has to be some sort of like qualification. Not just anybody, but anyone who is a photographer, artist, musician, who wants to chat about music and all that, let me know. But until then, guys, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace. And make sure you hit that notification button and you'll never miss a video again.